Failure is not the end. We all kind of know this. We all have been told this at some point, that failing is not the end of things. So why is it so hard to kind of accept it and believe it? It's because you need to have belief in these concepts. And when people talk about these things, when people say, your failure is not the end, failure is the key to learning, it is true. Toddlers, babies, when they're born, they don't get up and start walking around straight away. They pull themselves along, they crawl, they, use their arms to shuffle their bums along the ground. And, the first time they ever get up and try and hold on to something and stand up, they're going to fall down. They're going to fall down when they start walking around. So why can people not accept or struggle with the idea of failure in other aspects? Well, I think it's for a number of reasons. I think as we grow up, we start to kind of lack a little bit of humility in a way. We kind of forget that even though we're sort of like grown and we, pick up careers and start kind of having little successes in life and doing things, that we're not infallible. We're definitely not perfect. And again, people kind of know that, but don't give themselves the chance in a way to be a beginner and be bad at something again. Start from the bottom rung, accept that maybe you're in a completely new domain, you're doing a new sport or learning a new hobby, painting, writing, doing YouTube videos. I'm perfectly happy with this turning out pretty rubbish. Not wrong for me in terms of I'm happy for me. I want it to be useful for you out there. I don't want it to be a total waste of your time. I respect that. But I'm happy for it to not, be the most perfect thing that I can do right now, because I'm at the beginning of this. So we take that. So failure, is not the end. And the other story I kind of relate to is something I've been doing over the years. I've had some big failures over the years, things that have been emotionally difficult to bear, because I attempted something really challenging, and it was in the name of kind of something else, and trying to sort of like work towards and prove to myself, but also prove to other people, and support something else that's not just me. And I've taken on those challenges and failed at quite a lot of them, and that's a real stinger. Not really mainly for my ego, it's more for letting other people down. Now, if you ask anybody who's knows me or is involved in those and stuff, they won't really look on it and see them as failures. The meeting or not meeting the criteria of success is kind of up to the beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? But I couldn't really see it as that, and it was a belief thing. I didn't believe maybe that I deserved to kind of walk away feeling accomplished, that I should walk away feeling a bit ashamed. And I had to kind of grapple with that. But we really do have to find some way to believe, which is a key thing. We have to believe the anecdote of failure, is not the end, and failure is learning, and failure, is a type of progress. It's all worth saying it, but you do have to believe it. And belief, it takes a little bit of a, no pun intended, a bit of a leap. You have to kind of really change your mindset and alter your perspective on things. But sometimes it's not easy, because it's an emotional thing. There's something deeply rooted within you that just kind of won't let go of it. And I don't really envy anybody who's sort of trying to deal with that. I've dealt with that myself. But try as we might, try and see failure as a way forward. Don't see it as the end. Time will pass. Time will come and go. We might not get a chance again. That's true. But if we do want to pick up the mantle and try again, there's no point wallowing in self-pity about it. And you definitely don't want to pass on to the next generation, either your children or other people's children or great-grandchildren or grandchildren, that they can't fail at things. You know, the online space is filled with far too much sort of fake perfectionism. Let this video stand as a monument to that, because it's going to be by no means perfect. But I hope this will serve you in terms of if you're a person who's sort of like struggling to deal with the concept of failure, and you know, whatever failure looks like to you, whatever challenge it might be, or other aspect of life. I hope you do find a way to see failure as at least a path towards who and where you want to be, and that you have this support network around you to really appreciate that. You know, if you've got good people around you, they won't tear you down about it. Failure is not the end. Thanks for watching.